getting into the guts of it a little bit, what about interviewing? And I'm going to dispense with saying again and again, no, doesn't matter what kind of an interview it is. If you're headed for an interview, what are the things you need to be doing? First, you need to research the organization. Keep in mind, you've probably already researched this organization. You've been in the hunt for a while, probably, if you're in the 2L job-seeking process or any other interview process. You may have researched it already. Research it again before you go to the interview. Why do it again? It's not just so that you know about the company or know about the organization. It's because the person you're interviewing with is going to expect that you have done some research. They will expect that you have looked at their website. They'll expect that you have asked around about them. Most of all, they'll expect that you've looked at their website and that you know what's in there. That's part of what you do when you interview these days, and so you certainly want to do that. You can look at other sources, at career services, talk to lawyers, talk to other people about the firm or the organization, but certainly, for goodness sake, read the website and know what's in there. Interview day logistics, which is, to me, something that's pretty important. Make sure you don't make a mistake with respect to an interview, because make a mistake with respect to the logistical aspects. If you do, many people will sympathize with you, but some other people may hold it against you. Pay attention to it. Know where you're supposed to go. Know exactly where you're supposed to show up. Figure out what the parking situation, if you're driving there, figure out what the parking situation is, because parking oftentimes is the most confusing part of getting to where it is you're trying to go. Know the time when you're supposed to arrive and be there 15 minutes early. Very important. Try to figure out the details about your interview day, and you can ask about it. How many interviews are there going to be? How long are the interviews? Is there a meal during the day, a dinner or a lunch or a breakfast as part of the interview process? If there is, it's something good to know. Importantly, if you can possibly do it, get a list of the interviewers. And getting a list of the interviewers is not something that you have to sneak around about or be secretive about or make a big deal of. You can ask. If you're going to a company or a firm, go to the recruiting person, the recruiting coordinator or the recruiting staff person. See if it's possible that you can get a list of the interviewers that are going to be having conversations with you during the day so that you can know who they are. Why would that be? I guess it's pretty obvious. If you know who they are, you can find out something about them before you go into the interview, and that's kind of a nice compliment to people when you're interviewing with them. They're going to know a lot about you. It doesn't hurt for you to know about them, and for that matter, to sort of make it evident that you know something about them in the course of the interview. They will be complimented to know that you've taken the time to figure some things out. Appearance. I'm not going to spend the day on this. I'm not an expert on the subject of appearance, but I will tell you this, appearance is important. The way you appear is the first thing that a person sees who is interviewing with you. They see you before they say a word to you, and they size you up based on what they see before they even say a word to you. It's a fact of life. It's been written about, but take my word for it, it makes a difference. So pay some attention to it. My thoughts have mostly to do with men's appearance, in fact, pretty much exclusively. Men's appearance. If you're a woman, you need to worry about it too, believe me, but I'm not going to be your advisor on that. I think you should go to Career Services, speak with the women who are there, talk to them about all the things that you need to talk about with respect to appearance. And I don't need to tell you what those are. So let me talk a little bit about men. My one thought, well, the first thought is your outfit. If you need to wear a suit. You need to wear business attire to an interview if you're interviewing for a job. If somebody tells you otherwise, if it's a casual Friday and people say you don't have to dress up, my advice to you would be dress up on the more dressy side than on the less dressy side. But in general, it's business attire, and that's what you ought to do. If you're a man, it's a gray suit, or it's a navy blue suit, it's a white shirt, and it's a conservative tie, and it's shoes that are shined. That's what people are going to expect of you. And if you come in less than that, it's going to get noticed. An interview is not a time to make a fashion statement, in my estimation, especially for lawyers. If you want to make a fashion statement, do it another time. If you want to take a chance, hey, it's a free country. You can do what you want, of course. Somebody may notice that you're a fashion plate, and that's great. Others may think something different. You can't go wrong dressing conservatively and looking, if you will, regular for your interview. Hair is important. If you're a man, get a haircut before you go. Don't go there looking as if you need a haircut. If you have a beard or a mustache or a goatee or whatever you have by way of facial hair, that's fine. Again, it's a free country, but at least trim it up before you go. If you have tattoos or piercings, frankly, my advice to you on that is cover them up. Don't wear the piercings and cover up the tattoos if you can. Again, you are who you are, do what you want, but some people will be off-put by tattoos and piercings. Fact of life. You're in a conservative industry, and you won't see many of the senior partners running around with tattoos and piercings. So go with the flow. Jewelry, sort of the same thing. If you're a man, wear your wedding ring or your class ring, but otherwise, if I were you, I'd leave it at home. Some people might like it, but other people might wonder about whatever piece of jewelry it is you're wearing, so I'd say leave it at home. Comportment. How are you supposed to act? My advice on that is remember your manners. Remember what your mother told you when you were growing up about how you should act. And remember the social conventions. After that, how you should act is sort of beyond my pay grade. But do remember your table manners. Remember how people are supposed to get in and out of elevators. Remember who's supposed to open the door for whom. And do the right thing. I guess I can't have a talk about interviews without talking about handshakes, so I'm going to say a word about handshakes. They should be firm. You ought to have a firm handshake. If you're a man, don't crush a woman's hand when you shake hands with her. That's not good. If you're a woman, come up with a firm handshake because it's important for you too. Here's a hint that you might not hear just anywhere. When you shake hands, your hand should be parallel to the ground. If women particularly make a mistake on that, they sort of hand a man or a person their hand and hope that somebody will shake their fingers. Don't do that. Make it parallel to the ground. Make it firm. You should take with you some kind of portfolio or envelope briefcase. to carry papers in. You need to have with you copies of your resume, copies of your writing samples, copies of your transcript. Those, of course, will have been circulated to the interviewers, but if one of them has lost it or didn't get the email or whatever, you can save the day by having a copy of your papers for that person. They can play catch up and get to where they need to go. Keep in mind when you go to an interview that everybody that you interact with is an interviewer. That is to say, anybody who you run into, have an interaction with, is likely to have a say in the process of evaluating you, especially if you are dismissive of them or rude to them or off-putting to them. Lots of interviewees make this mistake. They think that because the interviewers, they think that the only people that matter are lawyers who are in the actual interviews, and the staff people, the recruiting people, the receptionist, the messenger, the people that walk you from interview to interview, those people can all be dispensed with and don't matter much. Don't make that mistake. They do matter. They matter a lot, and particularly they matter if you do something that is offensive. It won't go over too well, and it will not inure to your benefit.